Esteemed guests, it is my honor to introduce our distinguished speaker for this fireside chat. Hailing from the Sultanate of Oman, Sheikh Talal Mamari, the visionary CEO of Omantel, has spearheaded innovative strategies that have transformed the company into a driving force for progress and prosperity. His insightful leadership has propelled Omantel to the forefront of digital transformation, which we discussed much about today so far, focusing on bringing innovation at scale to the whole organization. Sheikh Talal's passion for empowering people through technology is an inspiration, as I have seen. Welcome.
Thank you, Bernard, for the kind words. Thank you.
In 2021, Sheikh Talal, AWS recognized the potential in Oman, and we decided to build a local zone in the country. In the same time, you saw the opportunity early on to harness the power of the cloud. You wanted to ignite innovation within your organization and provide Omantel customers with new cloud-based products and solutions that will meet the rising demands of consumers and businesses alike. And this was the beginning of the progressive partnership between AWS and Omantel that signaled a new chapter of technology and innovation. Now, looking at Omantel, you have expertise across fixed, mobile, networks, broadband internet, enterprise IT solution, and much more. Omantel has laid the foundation for Oman's digital future. You are also one of the backbone and driving force of the nation's telecom industry. Can you share with us your vision for 2030? Where would you like to drive Omantel next, and what impact do you want Omantel to have on the Sultanate?
In the earlier panel, we did discuss about the 2030 vision. We discussed the fact that, in my point of view, the next 10 years we will witness much more disruption. So to me, I think the next 10 years should be taken into smaller increments, mainly because of what is happening in and around AI. A personal experience that I had just recently using the so-called Copilot with Microsoft products gives me a different perspective. I always sense that maybe the base in which this change will take probably 5 to 7 years. However, I think the next 2 years will be very much determinant in the creating the right business models, not only for telcos, but for other industries. Having said that, it's key for us to continue to be relevant to the customer base that we serve. We are today, mobile operators are in the pockets of almost everybody. But what does that mean for the, not today's consumers, but the consumer of the future, which I said earlier, is already existing. The 7-year-old, the 8-year-old, they don't think there is digital as a transformation. Digital is now, and digital is a reality. So we will continue that drive to be as relevant as possible through creating an ecosystem around adjacent technologies that make sense, not only from a business point of view, but to the customers that we serve.
Okay. So for the new generation, digital is native, is there, is easy. But for many of us, digital transformation is still a journey which brings opportunities, but also challenges. As Omantel navigates through this path of digital transformation, what obstacles must you overcome to maximize the potential of digital innovation?
Look, the key challenge remains to be the same. I mean, it's around culture, it's around people. And actually, it's around also the DNA in which the organization operate. If we want to leverage the future, we must take a look at these three elements that I mentioned. And one of the key investments that we are placing today is an investment in our own people. We're developing people, through various new skills and technologies, but most importantly, we are providing learning from you guys that psychological, safety to fail fast, try things, risk, and continue that learning process. For us, the challenge is, and the opportunity is around people and culture. We will continue to invest in this as we go.
And this is what we have seen across most of the large organization is the biggest challenge to overcome all over the world.
Definitely. I mean, there are other challenges. As a telco, we are heavily regulated industry as well. And I think the regulation is not evolving in the same speed as the industry is taken. I hope some of this will change in the next 2 to 3 years.
Now, in the Middle East and Africa, the adoption of public cloud is not as high as it is in other parts of the world, be it in the US or Europe. Also, there is still the concern that public cloud provides a challenge for CSPs. What is your view? How was your experience with AWS so far?
Look, as you know, you took a risk, you took a bold move to come to Oman, and in all metrics, maybe this is a smaller market, etc. But you know the journey that we have gone through. It was very important that we run some sort of an awareness and education program, if you will. One with the regulator, and it was very important for the regulators to appreciate what does that mean and what are the opportunities out there. Yes, there are risks, but all of these risks can be mitigated. It was very important for us to move the regulatory agenda a little bit further, and I think we succeeded to do that over a journey of approximately 6 months. Now, the readiness of businesses. Most businesses suffer from the same challenge, legacy, whether it's legacy people or legacy systems. To move to cloud means that there is a shift in the business model altogether, and some businesses are more ready than the other. I see much more momentum in the region generally, much more emphasis in investing in data centers, attracting cloud provider, hyperscalers into the region. But what's really important is that the regulators showing much more flexibility after understanding that the opportunities far exceed the risks that they foresee.
Now, we discuss of the challenges and the digital priorities. How do you think that the partnership with AWS will support you in achieving those priorities? What can we do to accelerate Omantel's digital transformation?
Look, for us, transformation in general has for a very long time become an everyday thing. So I believe there was a point of time when there was a fatigue, if you will, in the organization from the process that entails continuous change. But I think there is more and more realization, and there is a generation gap, obviously, specifically from new generation, the Gen Z so-called, for accepting change as a constant factor in our business. One of the main things that we worked together on is basically looking at a sales force that was focused in selling connectivity. That's the comfort zone. How do we move some of those talents into selling cloud and selling solutions? we've had our bucket of ICT team, but the rest of the enterprise sales team needed that shift. So we worked together to basically train most of these members of our sales team into selling ICT solutions, selling cloud, changing the narrative altogether. In enterprise, it's oftentimes the DNA of telecoms, the need come from the customer. But oftentimes, we don't have a good understanding of all the problems that a certain business is going through or the industry in which that business work is going through. So it was very important to introduce what we call consultative sales approach, where we use data and insight about the industry, about the business as an entry point with our clients. Changing the narrative have helped us move a little bit the buck, if you will, when it comes to being much more effective in being part of the digital transformation of many of these organizations.
Can't agree more. Now, if we look at the scalability and agility and speed of innovation, experiment and fail fast, those are typical attributes of the cloud technology. Omantel's innovation hub already being a home for developers and startups, which I have seen you have a complete floor only for that purpose. It makes Omantel the ultimate incubator. Does it make Omantel the ultimate incubator for young entrepreneurs? Is this a model that can scale beyond Oman?
I think so. When we started our incubator, and we called it Omantel Labs 2 years ago, it was very important for us to keep it within the headquarters. And one of the main important objectives is to really make the mix of cultures between those tech startups and our teams. We wanted to foster more and more, obviously, innovation. These are from two different worlds. Now, the startups, the tech startups that we incubate or accelerate within our buildings are encouraged to work on ideas that go beyond only Oman. So we give them a room to basically use Omantel as a sandbox for their products, services, solutions. So they use Omantel as that sandbox. So it gives us, again, that openness of the startup culture. At the same time, we want them to succeed in Oman, but think beyond Oman. Think region, think the world.
We discussed about this before, but when we look at equipping employees with the skills needed to thrive in the digital era, this is a key success during the digital transformation. Where do you see challenges when building Omantel's cloud capabilities? Do you foresee there's a culture or generational inhibitors?
Definitely. I mean, incumbents specifically have suffered more from this gap. And the way we try to address that is to obviously push more and more fresh blood in the organization. Over the last 3 years, we came up with an initiative, we called it Gen Z. So we take talents who are fresh, obviously graduates, we run them through assessment, then they go through a 1-year program. This program is based on projects that they come up on their own, and they seek the help of the domain of business within Omantel. What does that? What that do basically is give also our older generation an opportunity to see the market from a different perspective. So definitely one of the gaps that we have is that generational gap, and we will continue to push the culture further, like I mentioned earlier, to be much more agile, but it is also important to push new blood into the organization.
Time is almost up, or it is up, but I would like to have one question still. When we're looking at the business, how do you plan to change your customers' perception of Omantel as an innovative digital leader from the consumer and the enterprise customer? What new lines of business offerings or partnerships does this open up as possibilities for Omantel? And do you see the power of open AI in monetizing data?
There are so many questions in that last question.
Okay, let's reduce it as much.
So yes, I mean, the key thing is changing the narrative. So we continue to be relevant to our customers. We believe through making sure that we have the right empathy to the customer, we will be able to change that perception. The good news about going from telco, so-called, to techo is that it's a new field. So it gives us that entrepreneurial, if you will, culture within the organization. I believe the next big thing, as you know, it's open AI and others. Anything surrounding AI will change business models. I cannot, emphasize this enough. I think we need to look at our business models very, very, very soon.
Sheikh Talal, thank you so
Bernard.
much.
Thank you.
We highly appreciate your insight. It's been very interesting. Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shukran, Bernard.